Hey, hello everyone. My name is Thomas Johnson. I'm the curator of performance and moving image here at Dunlop Art Gallery and Regina Public Library Film Theatre. I'd like to acknowledge that I'm currently situated on Treaty 4 territory, including the original lands of the Cree, Ojibwe, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. It's a real pleasure to have you all here for this discussion, which is part of the screening of Ahomapénî, Relations and Rez Dogs by the Nakoda AV Club. This is also part of follow-up from our discussion and screening on September 16th, which was part of the Treaty 4 gathering. I'm here with a number of filmmakers from a range of territories and communities. We have Jarrett Youngman, Solomon Chineke, Amber T. Youngman from the AV Club. We're also joined by Janine Windolf and Louise Biggie, who will be joining us as well. Really excited to be working ongoing with these filmmakers, and I'd like to invite them all to introduce themselves shortly. Afterwards, we'll have a roundtable discussion, and time permitting, we'll also take questions from viewers. If you want to just provide your questions in the chat bar, then we'll respond to them there. So yeah, I'd like to just really dive in quickly here and welcome everyone to introduce themselves. We'll go in the same order here. So Jared, if you want to.
Yeah, I'm Jared Youngman, and I am the co-founder of Nakoda AV Club. And it's kahang Wayatamias. So I speak Stony, and my first language has been Stony, and second language has been English. And so I'm a writer and director, and a mentor of the youth and kids and whoever wants to learn anything about film. And I'm the go-to guy.
Excellent, thanks. And Solomon, do you want to?
Yeah, I'm Solomon Chineke, Barrett's cousin, camera person, photographer from Morley as well. And I guess I'm a filmmaker, but I wouldn't really call myself any one particular thing. Not really a writer or director or DOP, but I do help out a lot. Yeah.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Amber Tingman. I worked with the Nakoda AV Club a lot. I'm a director, and yeah, I'm very nervous. So. That's all I have to say.
And Janine?
Hi, I'm Janine Windolf, and I'm originally Saskatchewan. That's where I was born and raised, in Treaty 6 area. I've moved to Treaty 4 when I was a teen and been here for many years. I went to film school at the University of Regina and later went for my Master's of Fine Arts, interdisciplinary in both Indigenous fine art and media production. Been working in the community here for many years. And in that, I've done visual arts, beading, a lot of filmmaking, storytelling, and being engaged with the community and using art as a catalyst to share our stories, but to create social change. And my sons and I recently, in the past year, have been living and working from Banff as well. So I have 2 homes, and yeah, just been enjoying the Banff Center and at the same time making my time to be here in Regina. So.
Excellent, thanks so much. Yeah, I was really interested in, I think, both screenings that we had for Treaty 4 Gathering, and also this the role of storytelling and how you gravitated towards film to use that that medium for storytelling. If anyone would, or if you'd all want to maybe explore that question a bit, I'd be really interested.
I guess I'll start first, or you saw.
Look like you can talk about this.
Okay. So what was the question again?
Just, I guess, how you chose filmmaking as a form of storytelling, and maybe just to explore that topic. It's a pretty broad question, but
Yeah. By accident, I guess. It's by accident, and we have no idea that this Nakoda AV Club is going to become a thing. We have no idea that we gonna be making films and movies, and that's it. It's just everything just started coming together when there were no youth programs in Alberta. I mean, Morley in the Rez. There's no youth programs. There's no youth projects. No nothing. And so I just began to ask my cousins. There's at least like a lot of cousins in my house, and I asked them, "You guys want to make a movie?" And then they're like, "Yeah, let's make a movie. Let's start a movie." All right, so they suggested want to make horror films, and that's when the horror films start picking up together. And then we're like, okay, let's make something different now these days because we're actually getting older. We're actually getting uh, educated more about filming, and then we actually start making movies that is important to us about elders and the teachings, and to actually come around that we should like yeah. I have no idea this AV Club thing is gonna be a thing for us, and it was helping a lot of people. It was helping a lot of kids and coming around something to do. And then we actually found a bunch of things like filming, like cameras. We found them in the garbage. We fixed them and used them. We reused everything. And we actually, if we found something in thrift shop, we're gonna use that camera, and then we're gonna reuse everything. And it's like something that was thrown away, and then we fix it, and then we're gonna use it in our films. And that's how everything is just coming together as it. And each year, it's AV Club's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. Is that
that's awesome. Yeah, no, that's amazing. Saul, did you have anything you want to add to that, or Amber?
Amber, you have anything you want to add? Oh, you're muted right now.
Sorry about
yeah,
that.
I don't know. Yeah, go ahead, Amber.
But the part where Jared said that it helped a lot of kids, it did. I was one of the part of Jared's zombie film, and it was really fun. Like, I never knew that people can make a film out in the reservation when I was a teenager. It was really fun. I was really amazed. And
Sorry, I think you cut out a little bit, but I think we got.
Yeah, I think I can add to that also. I think I was lagging out a bit, but yeah, I had no idea that I could, like, I don't know, I was like a Rez kid. I had like just hanging out with my cousins. I had no aspirations for anything. Not to say that as a bad thing, but
can you guys hear me again?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think.
Okay, I don't know what happened there. It told me.
I think your internet just went bad. Well, yeah. Oh yeah, go ahead, Amber.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It pooped. But yeah. Oh, sorry. I've had a lot of fun making it off again.
I think you.
Damn, my connection's really bad. You go ahead.
Right.
I'm gonna wait this up.
All right.
Having bad connection problem. Sorry.
Yeah.
You keep going.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, I didn't really have any like goals or anything for like my future. I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then Jared gave me a camera and then we just started going at it, like making movies. And now I'm like living in Vancouver, and I work in the film industry, and I've like I don't know, hundreds of days in camera department. So I'm just like, yeah, I think it's been pretty good, and definitely, yeah, we started out with no money and no anything and no plan. We just had we didn't even like really. I don't know if we wrote really scripts or anything. Some of the stuff we made, we just kind of just filmed it, and then we just kind of kept going. And just like added little things here and there, and we just kept thought like a scene would be funny if like one of our cousins was on the roof or something, and making a we made a joke of one of our cousins was like sitting on the roof, like yeah, they're like kind of hillbilly guys sitting on the roof, and like they had no shirt on. they're like, oh, we don't see, like they're making like just general jokes, which is kind of funny, but yeah. I don't know if that answered any question, but definitely, yeah, it was just great.
Yeah, like we had fun, like a lot of fun. Like that was the whole thing about all of the everyone being hillbilly stuff. They're just actually having fun and all. And I thought I want to keep continuing doing that, like every day, like all the youth and everyone, every kids I know and every cousin I know, they always want to have fun. That's the whole thing with the AV Club, not by accident.
Yeah.
I just see Louise was able to come on, and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. We're just going around, and I just asked the question earlier about your approach to storytelling and how you chose film as your medium to tell stories. So an open question there as well. And Jinian, I think you are also going to answer that question.
Sure, I can pipe in. Yeah, so when I was young, actually, I was really fascinated to watch Hollywood movies and just trying to absorb, what stories were being out there. And, as I got older, I started to realize there wasn't any Indigenous representation. And then the Indigenous representation that I did see in films didn't reflect the culture and the life that I seen living up in Treaty 6 in L'Orange area. And so at an early age, that was my dream, was to become a filmmaker. I wanted to contribute and share the stories that I seen. But one of the first things that I was told was, that there's no little Indigenous filmmakers around here. You're going to have to move to Hollywood. So my dream at a young age, was kind of, I guess, guided elsewhere. That's a nice way of saying it, that it got squashed. But, I went to Regina and I started off taking business classes at the University of Regina. And I was really fortunate to take Film 100. And that really brought that dream back out, to be able to share stories through film. So I would have to say, the university providing those classes really ignite that passion again. And when it comes to why using film, like that came at a younger age, but I feel like I'm a storyteller regardless, like whether it's just telling stories with each other, oral storytelling, through my bead work, through the work that I'm doing. I also was originally a curator of community engagement. So even how you're bringing people together, there's a level of storytelling and understanding that happens through each of these processes. So I feel like the thread of being a storyteller runs through my career, my personal life, and I really try and share those stories with my family and friends and community. And I think that's how we get to know each other and how we share who we are as not only Indigenous people, but as people. So there's a lot of power in stories, and that's truly why I continue being a storyteller today. And film is just so accessible to be able to share and to really get those stories to a wider audience. So that's why I continue using film as a medium to keep those stories going.
That's great. Thank you so much. Louise, did you want to weigh in on that topic?
For me, It started when I was younger. I used to love photography, taking pictures and just having that moment captured in time and on a photo. And I just like writing stories. And then I just got interested in filmmaking. I like the real time of stories, and I like hearing people's life being displayed on like on film, or like the storytelling on film, and just being able to reach a wider audience with film, and just getting people's reactions watching a film, whether it's a documentary or like a fiction film or like nonfiction film. And just I just loved watching movies and just like seeing how things are made, and being at that moment with someone as you're capturing their story on film, and then actually, you know, respecting that you're there to tell their story, and also being able to tell Indigenous stories as an Indigenous person. I always feel honored when I'm able to do that on film, and just being able to capture a wider audience. And yeah.
Yeah, I liked your point, Janine, and also Jared, about the sort of the passion, or like that you're having fun, and there's often a lot of impediments to that. And I guess, how do you maintain that yourselves, or like to keep finding that inspiration and to keep building? What have been your strategies for that?
Should I start?
Sure.
So I think the people needs to be here every day, like needs to be educated more. That's what inspired me every day. That I actually never known any things as in a Stony person. All these culturals that they never taught us when we were young, but all they actually saw is films and Hollywood films. And then there's a gap in my life that, okay, how come they actually never taught us how to actually to be really more, be a good hunter, or be more bead worker, or like it's like something that holds between not between like two worlds, that it's mixed in our world, and that did not add up with me at all. And so I really want to learn more about our indigenous cultural, and so I started asking around, what can I do to actually get people to really interest in our people's like back then. And so some of them, like elders or anyone, they say, you know what, you're a filmmaker, won't you just tell the stories how you hear them and how we tell it, and then you can just show it in the film. And so that's what inspired me more. And then, you know what, you're right, we can do that. Like, we can actually show these films. I mean, we can make this into education to the young people to understand who we are, because there's a lot of kids out in the reserve that they have lost identity and they don't speak our language anymore. And so that's when it just kind of built up with this thing that it makes me move on to actually make more films about who we are. And because I'm getting tired of seeing this whole white hero or superheroes. I want to see a native hero. I want to see something about present native. I want to see something that shows native are the ones that they're protectors of the land. They're protectors of the people. They're powerful languages, and they're the ones who are actually really responsible for all the good things happening, for medicines and good talk and humor. And that's one of the things I want to bring into this Nakoda AV Club. And so that's how I actually got inspired, like every day, to think about. And I just want to keep doing it over and over until it's completed, I guess. Yeah. I think that's pretty good. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, just to add on to what the conversation, I guess for me, every project is unique in terms of the challenges that you go through. Even with the smallest project, there's always going to be learning. And I think that's been how I've been able to get through each project is rather than positioning myself like, I could have done it this way or I could have done it that way. I just think to myself, well, what did I learn from it? Because I think sometimes even with the best laid plan, nothing ever goes as planned. So, I'm starting to accept that. And, the more important thing for me is relationship building with the team you're bringing. So, when you're having people empowered and they're able to contribute, it makes your film that much stronger in terms of, they can think beyond what my mind as a director can think. And the more contributions you have in building on those strengths, I feel like that in the process makes it really collaborative, but also you're able to problem solve together. Like you don't have to know it all. Has been the main thing for me. But also, taking the time to pause. Like if it gets to the point where I really feel like, I need a timeout, and I always encourage timeouts with anything I do, not just because I'm raising kids, but even if I'm beating and I'm frustrated and I have a knot, I'll just take time to step back. And that's also important in the process. And sometimes, I'll go do things to help my spirit. I'll smudge, I'll put tobacco down. And in a lot of the films we do take time to smudge before we start the day. So we've been able to find ways that we can incorporate the tools to help get a good mind as we're telling our stories. And then after each film, I find, I need a little bit of a breather, which is why I like going back to different skills and abilities. So sometimes it's nice for me to switch it up because I need my energy to come back at some point. And then I feel like, there was one film where I was like, okay, that's it. I'm just going to focus on the job that I have. And I kind of thought maybe, I want to step back, but then you get that energy back. And sometimes it's a story that inspires you, or it's a person that inspires you. So I feel like now I'm just accepting that I'm a storyteller, and there's times I need to take a break, and there's times that I need to push forward. So it's really just understanding me and my process and how I fit in with the team that I'm bringing together. And I feel like it's just also getting it done. So there's some things in the back burner that even I want to get done because I usually put a lot of the jobs that I do first. And so, I think that's part of the process is each film's just going to come with its unique challenges. But you should definitely have fun. So I totally echo what I'm hearing from the Nakoda AV Club. That's very important to get through the process. And it's how we as Indigenous people get through tough times.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to address that?
Yeah,
I like how you oh sorry.
No, go ahead.
Janine, I like how you said that you feel empowered by the teamwork and just empowering your team. I feel the same way. I always work with a certain group of my certain Nakoda AV members, and honestly, I like empowering other people in my reservation or in my community, and I love bringing in a lot of people, and it's a really fulfilling achievement knowing that you helped pushing people out there. I just felt that what you said. I was like, yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah. You were gonna say something, Saul?
Oh no, I was gonna say nothing.
So
Thinking, I guess another question is around support. So I guess externally, what you're finding would help you in the work that you're doing, and that may or may not be here already, and like how we could move towards setting something up that supports the work that you are doing, primarily in film, but also otherwise.
Me again? I didn't understand that question.
Sure. I guess if you're thinking of like the supports that you need, like if it's like venues or distribution, production, audiences, or if there's anything else that you find you're seeing in the looking, because I think when you think of film, it is coming out of a Western tradition, and there are some inherent barriers there. But are there ways to maybe open those up, like even in like the way that you talked about in Relations and Rez Dogs, like telling stories differently?
Yeah, it's something. When we worked on the Rez Dogs, it's just Amber and Coy, and Aiden came up with that, and I'm not the one who responsible with that film. They're the ones who actually did that. Because when they actually have a story, I actually help them. It comes together when something is created, and so I'm just there to actually mentor and help and try to get things done. And we always try to get people to actually to watch films, what we do, and because in Morley, it's like there's not enough supportive at all. So we have to like use our own money, or sometimes we have to use our own vehicle to pick everybody up. It's really hard to actually get everybody together every day. Like even if we're working, we can't. Um, there's not a lot of support over there at all. But there's because we need to get things done, as in like to go. I want to show how much how much it's hard for us to actually get together every day. And then I want to show the audience that we are doing the best we can to actually show you what we've done and show you what we have to educate. I think the important thing is to educate the people and audience to understand us, who we are, because there's still words coming out in everywhere how they say like Indian drunk people, but I would rather hear somebody say, hey, that Indian's a filmmaker. I think that's one of the important things that non-native people should talk about every day. And I think that we want to educate people, as in like it's very important for us to actually teach them who we are, and it's important to us that to show them what we can do. It's very important to us that we're not going anywhere. We're not giving up. Like we're just gonna actually show you who we are, and in a really calm way, they're really softest as possible, I guess. And I think, yeah. Does that answer your question? Is that how?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
I sometimes when I talk, I just go off somewhere that doesn't seem the proper answer, but I'm gonna end up talking about something else all of a sudden. So if that works,
that's perfect. Yeah, keep it up.
Yeah, I've got a bit of ideas on this question. Just with like things that could help, like make movies, and like it's weird saying myself. Yeah, so yeah, that threw me off. Sorry. Yeah, one thing that like kind of bothers me, like I work in like I guess standard Hollywood way of making film, like all the time, primarily as my day job, and I find that the way of making films is often not like especially for like kids and like other like artists, like people from the res, like people who didn't grow up with like with that way of making movies. I don't know. It's like very militaristic and very like not kind, and I find it's awful. And I like anytime I get to work on any like Nakoda AV Club films, it's definitely not that way. It's not like a machine to make this whatever Netflix movie or whatever. I don't know, something I don't care about. I find that like that way of making films is like pretty awful, just as an experience. And I find that just like people appreciating different ways of making films and not having a standard way of having like making films, I guess just industry standards. I really hate them, and I don't think there should be pressure to make films a certain way and in a certain pipeline of the way people make it. And I just really don't like that. So that's, I guess, my thoughts and opinions on that.
Yeah, like as a Stony person, a Stony Nakoda person, it's like you will never consider yourself as a leader. You don't actually say it. You actually don't say anything has to do with you're the chief or anything. It's just the word that we don't say it. Even though you're a leader, they say you're a leader, but you don't say it. It's just a strange way to put that on us. Like when they ask me, "Are you a director?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I guess." "Did you make this film?" "Yeah, I did." "Well, yes, you're a director." "Oh, okay, I'm a director then."
Yeah, like film hierarchies, like the way that the pyramid of the way films are structured.
Yeah. The
And,
structure thing is just so weird for us doing all these things. And then, "Oh, did you make this AV club?" And I'm like, yeah, I did." "Then you're a co-founder." "Oh, okay. I guess so. I guess I'm a co-founder then." So it's like Nakoda people actually don't consider themselves like the biggest leader ever. Like they just like blend in and then blend in with all the crowd. That's how everything is. But as the structure, like Solly said, is like strange and weird to us. That's why we don't consider ourselves like I'm the leader or Saul's a photographer. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like we are filmmakers, but now in white world we are director and photographers. So yeah,
there may not be like one person who's like the director. Like it will get made somehow, but there may be like 5 people who are helping with directing. Like,
and our director is the creator. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
I hope I didn't go off too off again.
You're doing great. Louise or Amber, did you want to?
Well, I just want to say, like, I think for supports and things like that, it would be nice to see mainstream media support Indigenous films, Indigenous filmmaking. It's kind of, sometimes it gets tiring to see the same media outlets like in APTN or like someone like Eagle Feather News or small local, helping publicize Indigenous films. It'd be nice to see like the bigger outlets and non-Indigenous outlets to support films and help publicize our films to get them out to mainstream media. And that a lot of our films shouldn't just be watched by Indigenous people. They should be watched by everybody. So it'd be nice to see that bigger support out there for Indigenous films. And I hope one day that does happen and hopefully soon, just to help, help Indigenous films, help us, show that support in that way. And it doesn't take very much, just put a little blip of a film out there and the public will see it, whether it's on one of their stations or their social media, things like that. So it'd be nice to see more support in that way of like CBC or like CTV or, what is it, like Chorus Entertainment, things like that bigger media to support Indigenous films and help publicize and put it out into mainstream media.
For support on my behalf, I'm still learning all the ropes. Like Saul said, we've never really worked in the mainstream industry. When we make a film, we just make it. We don't even have a script and all that. So I'm still learning on what supports look like and what supports I need, or what supports looks like to me. Everything's still new to me. I'm still learning the ropes. I'm still learning about everything. So whatever Sol and all you guys said is spot on. It's making me learn. It's making me, and I really do appreciate that. So yeah, that's what I have to comment
Great.
on.
Thanks so much. We do have one question from the viewers here that asks, what are some of your proudest moments working in film?
Oh, I guess I'll go first again. I think mine would be our first film. It's called Morning Star, and that was our first CADA. The Calgary Art Development funded us for a grant. I mean, we got a grant from them, and that's when we were actually able to actually pay everyone, like half of them though, and my actors, and we actually kind of took it to the next level as in a really important filmmaker and actors, and these little kids, they've been wanting to act in a film for so long because they always wanted to be in my films, and when they actually got that part, and they were just stoked about it, and I didn't know that how important it was for them to be enacting my movies, and so that's when I didn't realize that it was really important to us. Like, I didn't realize that it was important to them. And so the story was really something has to do with kids every day, how they live. And it really worked out really well. And Saul photography and his film skills that actually took to the next level that where we are today. And because Saul actually knows more films than I do, and he knows more camera than I do, and then he actually teaches me now, and like it's our vice versa, and then we actually both of us really work together, and then that really made me proud of that film. That was what we done. It's called Morning Star, and in this, it's a beautiful moment for everyone and for that film. And it's a short film, a 10-minute short film, and has to do with kids that they actually raise each other, and they never raised by their mother, and the mother always like out and struggling every night, every day. When we got the film done, it went to Imaginative, and I got a trip over there to go see the film there, and it was the most incredible thing I've ever done. And I never thought the film will actually make me travel everywhere. That really made me so proud of myself and so proud of all the people I work with. And then I wanted more of that today. And I thought that was a really great, proud moment that I had with that film. It was Morning Star. So yeah.
My proudest moment was my first film. I have to say, I have a lot of proud moments working with the AV Club. Like, I think every moment is a proud moment. Seeing our film on the screen is a proud moment. Seeing it being in this situation is a proud moment for me. But the proudest moment for me would have to be when I saw the reactions of my viewers watching my first horror film, Crash. I'm like, yes, I see. They really love, like, I love horror. I love horror movies. I love everything about horror, and just watching the reactions of people watching my film and having that enjoyment of something I made that came out of my head. Just, it was the proudest moment I've ever had. And I always look back onto that every time I'm struggling with film. It comes back to like, let's try to get more reactions. So it's my proudest moment. Yes.
I can share. I've been making film since 2006, so I've had a lot of moments, but I think for me is when my kids started getting more involved in film in the past year. With Stories Are in Our Bones, they were, very prominent in camera, and, they really helped me talk through, what were their goals for working with me to make this film. What were they hoping? And they just wanted a simple fishing trip because they heard of our family doing all these wonderful things on the land, and they just wanted to be part of that. So, I think for me was we screened it in Regina pre-COVID, and, just hearing the responses, and because, I feel like now it wasn't just me trying to absorb that moment. I was thinking of my kids, and so, there's that moment in the film, and my son catches the fish, and actually just watching him and hearing that response, and you know that was one of the proudest moments I had in terms of this new kind of collaborative energy, but also having my children be brave and put themselves on there. And when you watch the film, they're they're actually much older now. They're 2 years ago. So now they're really tall. They're way taller than me. So, in the film, they're still growing up. So even having them watch it now and unpack it in a new way, and they make it sound like so long ago, like when we were kids, but they're only 13 and 15, so they're still kids to me. But seeing that, and then having them starting to take interest in, they created their own short film called The Elk. So, seeing that the next generation is, absorbing. And, I just wanted to kind of just say something, because I was listening to the last question we had. And, I think the methodology to tell Indigenous stories doesn't align well with the Hollywood methodology based on just everything you're hearing. So for anything to move forward in a good way for Indigenous people, there has to be the opportunity to really break that model down in a way that works for us. And so also, there is opportunities out there, but what I say to people is you can build a great program, but you have to do the outreach to let people know that they can have access to the opportunity that they're putting forward. So if you build it, they will come. It's not a good methodology. You have to go to the communities and you have to go to the people to help share those opportunities. And yeah, no, I think it's also just having more tools out there and more people sharing, and exactly what Louise said, not just having the Indigenous mainstream share or Indigenous festivals share. We need to have more larger, I guess, festivals and organizations really embrace, and not just embrace it like this is our Indigenous film collection. Like we need to be able to fit within the larger scope of storytelling, because I feel like we have done the work and we got a lot of talent out there. And in fact, when I did go to Banff last year, actually the Nakoda Club was the first group that I seen you guys do your presentation for the Banff Mountain Film Festival. So, you guys are already making such an important impact on the community, because I used you for homeschool last year. So I'm also going to get them to watch Rez Dogs, because I think, that's a really wonderful way to show what Indigenous stories are out there in Treaty 7 region. So thank you for that.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. That's what we love about people inspired with our films, and I think that's what motivates us to keep moving on and continue doing what we're doing with Nakoda AV Club. Yeah, awesome.
I guess one of my proud moment would be kind of in conjunction, sitting in Montreal at the National Film Board office and just finishing the touching edits on my film, and and watching it after and just being like, wow, like this is what I had, this idea that came and now it's all on screen put together. And it's just like, wow, I did this. I, was a part of such an awesome project. And then of course the screening and then after the screening and after it was put out there on the National Film Board website, and just people would message me and just be like, oh, I watched your film and it's inspired me to learn the language, or even to learn their own, whatever their language may be. And they didn't realize the dire need for just languages to be learned and to be brought back into communities, whether they're indigenous or not indigenous. And I just love hearing like messages like that. And I'm like, okay, I did my job. That's what I wanted to happen through this film, was just to bring that awareness and to push people to want to learn their language. And that was a proud moment for me. And just things like that was what I'm proud of in this film. And also people just coming to me now for ideas for films. And, I'm just like, wow, they're like, oh, I have this idea. I have, getting messages or people just coming up to me and, oh, thank you. They have that confidence in me to want to tell the story to, but I'm always like, well, you could be a filmmaker too if you want, or, but things like that where I just have little proud moments. And yeah.
Yeah, I guess for me, actually recently, like I had just a realization, like one of my bosses that I work for, like normally, like, I don't know, people don't take me seriously because I'm an indigenous person and I'm kind of young. Yeah, one of my bosses was just like, oh, so that's why you're so good at your job. Like that was the end sentence. And I'm like, thank you. Like I never really had that actually, because I work on like a lot of films. And I don't often get told that, but that was like pretty awesome. Yeah, I've been doing this for a while. Yeah, I'm not that good at my job, but I think I'm all right. I try. Yeah, that was nice. I don't know. Yeah.
Janine, there's a comment here that came through from Amanda saying, seeing that fish get caught is a great moment in the film that the viewers get to share with you. Love it. And I think there was a question that came after that I think speaks to all of your work. And the question is, how did the group gain the confidence of the people they interviewed to make it seem so natural and personal? I think there's qualities in all your work that reflects this. So maybe if you could all speak to this.
Like any interviews? Is that what you mean? Like any interviews we do?
Yeah, I think specifically this question was for relations and Rez Dogs.
We make them feel comfortable. We actually just tell them what it was like between two worlds, and then we just like make them feel like really not like how can I say it? Like we just actually just I can't explain it. When I interview people, we just like talk to them about what's going on, how their day's going, and how we actually really enjoy with them. And half of them we interviewed was like we had fun with them. Like even the elders thought that was really neat that they comment other things like kind of like a really strange way of saying it, but I'm not gonna say it on here. Even Tanya Johal, when we were filming in the round dance and we saw her there, and I just told her, I just went up to her and asked her if she wanted to be interviewed with the Rez Dogs, and she said yes. She was hilarious when she was doing that interview with us. She was just like really comfortable with us, and I'm glad that it went pretty well. And then we just like blend in with them because we didn't want to like make them nervous. We don't want to make them really like oh, this is terrified. And so we just like blend in and didn't join with them. And then we just asked them, "Oh, I'm kind of like a first-time interviewer that I'm gonna be interviewing you, so I might ask some dumb questions." And so we just like blend in with them, like asking, "Yeah, I'm kind of a little scared too, but I'm not. I'm with you on this." And so that's how we actually get along with that film. And it was tough, and Amber actually did an amazing job with interviewing with other people, and Aiden, and when I actually went looked through them, and there's a great amount of stories that I keep. I should have put in on the film, but it was like too much information. But I had to like cut short wherever that it need to be heard about one important things. It was challenging because that's our first time documentary, our first feature length, 52-minute long, and it was a really something that I never thought I would actually done like anything. We're filmmakers making horror films. Now we've gone to a documentary. It was the first time for us for doing all that Rez Dogs films, and I thought that was great. And yeah, we had fun. We actually it was terrifying, scary, and fun. Yeah, all at the same time. It was a nerve wracking, but yeah.
I think I can also add to Jared's what Jared said, and I think how I see it. I think because like I don't know, our setup is like pretty minimal. We don't really have much. We have like a little Zoom recorder and like a camera, like I don't know, like a 5D or something. So we normally film on those. And I feel like a lot of people are not really intimidated by us, and it's just me and Jared, or me, Jared, and someone else, or like me, Jared, Amber, me, Jared, and one of my other cousins, whoever, some kids that are tagging along. And I feel like people just like get comfortable, and they just forget about the camera, and they're just like, I don't know. And our interviewers are great, and they make people feel comfortable. Yeah, that's how I see it.
I guess I can also share too on this question. Like, it does make a difference, like having a smaller crew, as mentioned here, takes away some of the intimidation factor when you're doing more kind of smaller interviews. But something that I've always learned is giving the power to the person you're interviewing. So giving them a really good overview of what the story is, so they know which context they're speaking to, really helps them inform the narrative that they want to contribute. I don't do no Barbara Walters thing where I'm going to get down to the truth and you're going to tell me. Like, none of that methodology works, because we're here to do a reciprocal change. So one thing I learned is people can be very generous, and there's things that they want to share on camera, and there's things they just want to share with you because they're also bonding with you in that process. So what I always say is, if you want me at any point to shut the camera off so you can share something, and then tell me when it's okay to turn the camera back on. And then to me, that's a personal story that they're sharing with you. And maybe, yes, it's something that the whole world could learn. But if they don't feel like they want that shared, then I don't pressure them to do that, because I feel like they're already giving you the gift of their time and that contribution. And then I also try to have, like, to build more of a framework with how I kind of see, like, I try not to be too direct with my questions, because I find that kind of influences them. So I try and instead weave larger topics they can hit, and then remind them, because they'll have ideas. Sometimes you just need to remind them. And then also, one thing I find is sometimes you can get all the important stories and then you put them on camera and they go quiet. So I try to just have a general conversation so they get to know me, and then try to save the more deeper questions and conversation period for when the camera's on. And then I also learned to give physical feedback. So, I noticed when I was watching some of my earlier interviews when I was first starting, you'd always hear me go, mm-hmm, Yeah. Oh my God. Like I was being responsive to what they were saying, and I realized, oh, I got to cut half this stuff out because all you hear is me mumbling and giving those reinforcements. And, that works with like in person, but, on camera, it creates a little bit of those problems, especially if you don't want to acknowledge your presence there. So then I started to learn to maintain, like set the camera up and then maintain eye contact and nod and do little things that aren't going to transmit as much sound. But I find, the more you really give them the honesty of what the movie's about, what their role is, and really empower them to contribute in a good way, then I feel like, you're already building trust with them. And then that transmits really well when you see the interviews. So, I think it took me time to do that, to how to go through that process. But, definitely that's something that helped me. And it helped me in the editing room later. So,
Oh yeah, and we offer tobaccos before the interviews as well. Yeah, I forgot about that. And one of the elder, I actually offered a tobacco to him, and then he was like, "Oh, good, everything will go right for you from now on. So the film's gonna be great." Oh, good.
mhm.
That's good. Well, I think thanks so much. I guess are getting close to time, but if there's any points that you want to bring up yourselves and to ask each other, or anything you want to raise, let me know. But I think this has been just a fantastic discussion. And Louise, I don't know if you're still here. I just noticed you went black here. But...
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool.
I don't know what happened. I'm on my phone, so somebody tried to call me, and then it just went to black.
Oh.
I'm trying to, yeah, but I'm here.
Yeah, and Louise and Amber, if you want to answer the earlier question too, please, you're welcome to.
So the question, how is confidence interview? Honestly, Jared and Sol answered a big majority of how we do it. The only good answer I can give you is personal experiences. I'm still learning how to confidently interview people, and like eye contact to me is really, really scary, and I can't handle it. But I guess when you're in a team, it's much more easier because if you can't handle it, someone else can. They have that power, and it just works out pretty well working as a team. That's why you need each other. AV Club works perfectly together, and I love that. I don't have to like deal with the interviews where in time I will, but right now I'm still learning, and it's good to have someone who like it's good to work as a team, to have like if you're lacking in some skills, someone else comes in and has that skill that you don't have. And I'm just really proud of everyone in the AV Club. And, yeah. And
That's great. Thank you so much.
I have Eden here. Say
hi. Great.
So the same thing, like what they said. Basically, when I do interviews or anything like that, I just kind of like the same thing as Janine said. Like if there's things that they want to share and there's things that they don't want to share, you can politely ask them, do you want this filmed or do you not want this filmed? And they'll let you know, right? Like, or they'll just like straight up, don't film this. I've had that a few times where I'm like, okay, and I'll shut it off and just sit there and let them say what they need to say, and or just have a moment where, sometimes some people get in their emotions, and the same thing. You just kind of you go to people or shoot or a community, wherever it is, with respect, and also know protocols of when you go to things like that. Know that you just don't go in there and accept certain things. You just kind of like what I like to do is just chat a bit, get to know them or introduce myself, share some laughs, tell a couple jokes, and then everybody kind of loosens up, and then they feel more comfortable with you, and they're most likely to open up more in an interview to you if they feel comfortable. If they don't feel comfortable, they're only going to share certain things, or So the same thing. I always offer tobacco when I go to ask people to be in my films, and just kind of let them know they can share what they want, and then they don't have to share things that they don't want, and whatever they feel comfortable with. And just main thing is just to come with respect.
That's great. Thanks so much, Louise. Does anyone else have any points that they want to make, or maybe questions they want to ask each other? We can give that space now.
Yeah, like Louise, right?
Yes.
You did the To Wake Up the Nakoda Language.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a good film. Like, I love that film. Like,
oh, thank you.
And where is it about again?
Sorry?
Where is it about?
It was shot on Pheasant Rump First Nations.
Yeah.
Which is about an hour and a half south of Regina. A little close to the U.S. border. About an hour, 45 minutes from the U.S. border.
And your interview, what's his name?
Armin MacArthur.
Yeah. He actually speaks the language of Nakoda.
Yeah.
But it was so similar. It was the most joyful thing I've ever heard. Like, oh my God. Every word that he just saying, I'm like, this is so rich. Like, oh my God, I can't believe what I'm hearing here. That was the most incredible thing I've ever heard. Some language are different, and his language was really pure. And I felt like, mine is kind of like a slang word or something. He has the old wide wisdom. I mean, that old language. That was really great. How long did that take you?
It only took 1 day to do it. It was supposed to take 2 days, but film things always aren't going to go our way. Some things happen. So we ended up just doing the 1 whole day because a certain event didn't happen. So yeah, it took us a 1 day to do all that because everything was kind of happening all at once. So we're like, we need to be out there at this day, because it's all there. And yeah. And I wanted it mostly to be in the Nakoda language because I just, like I said, I wanted people to hear it, to listen to it, because you rarely hear Nakoda language being spoken in this area. So, and that's what I told them, just speak. If you want to speak in Nakoda, it's like, we'll figure out later to do the translations in English at the bottom. And yeah. So thank you.
Yeah. I think it'll be nice to actually have a keep in touch and you as well. Like, I want to keep with the filmmakers. That'll be amazing. I mean, I want to work with you guys. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to share, in La Ronge, there's so much love for the Rez Dogs up there. My mom has a pit bull, and she has a little puppy named James Franco, and he's like one of the most famous little Rez Dogs in that little area, and apparently quite a lady's dog, we'll say. But, it's funny, when I was watching, because I started watching it just before we got on, and, one of the things I love is there's an important teaching there, because they're not, like when they were talking about bringing in other dogs who weren't raised in that environment, and how they can't adapt, because at a young age, they might be out there and present, but, at the same time, the environment and that collective, because, we always have people coming to feed her dog and, there's these relationships, but people are looking out for people and looking out for each other's dogs. And so I just wanted to know what inspired the making of that film, because, I think of my mom and the love she has for her dogs and how they take care of them. What actually got you guys wanting to educate people on understanding, how we as Indigenous people view the animals that we keep?
Amber,
you want to shed some light on this?
We got the person here who inspired us to make Rez Dogs. Aiden, what inspired you to make this, to bring up this film?
Oh, sheesh. I guess it's the thought of people taking dogs and just coming onto the reserve. And that it bugged me, really. I didn't really understood why they would take the dogs. Like they do have a home. They do love to roam free, and let's see what else.
I think it just came from, the hurt people. People do love their dogs out here, and it's like their babies are getting taken away, and we just wanted to educate. I mean, they're not mistreated. They have families.
They have a home. Yeah.
They have a home, and even if they are struggling, the family struggling, the dog is definitely going to struggle with them, but they're still connected, and we just wanted to educate them. Stop taking our kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that analogy of the horses, because I mean, even in Plains Cree, there's Mr. Tim and then there's a Tim. So, they both have that relationship and role, and, neither is more sacred than the other. They both have that position within our community, and they're with us eye to eye. So I just really love, the messages that are coming across. They're very powerful, and I think they're much needed in terms of understanding Indigenous ways and knowledge. So yeah, I'm going to encourage everybody, watch that film. I'm going to incorporate it in homeschool and, really get my kids to absorb the film, because there's a lot that they can learn by watching your work. And I also love horror films, so I got to check out that zombie one.
That's going to be a little bit hard to find, I think.
Okay,
Unless somebody uploaded it on YouTube or something.
I do have it, but I haven't uploaded yet because it's too gory for industry people. And so that's why we're like, you know what? I'll just keep it under the ground right now for now. Whoever wants to see really gory stuff, kids eating people.
Oh,
yeah, all right. That goes
an underground Indigenous cult film. Yeah, I'll watch that.
we gotta put it on VHS soon.
Yeah, that'll be nice. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thanks so much. I think this has been just a fantastic discussion, and I hope we can continue it in other ways. Just to mention, we do have the film Relations in Rez Dogs is on our website currently. You can access it through Regina Library and then search RPL Film Theater. And that'll be online for a period of time. And then after that, it'll be you can access through the Nakoda AV Club. We also do have a screening within our RPL Film Theater on Saturday, this coming Saturday at 7 p.m. So you're welcome to see it there as well. And yeah, we'll definitely keep you posted on any other films that we see coming up from all these filmmakers as well. So again, thanks so much everyone for taking part in this discussion.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas, for bringing us together today.
Yes, thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
All right, take care. Take care, everybody. See you.
Stay safe.